Now that you've learned about event handlers, mouse detection, and how to create a simple animated menu, as well as how to create complex buttons, we're now ready to start scripting our advanced drop-down menu. Go ahead and open up the menu_mouse_over_start file in the Work Files folder. Here you'll find a menu that's already been started for you with a menu background. And the first button of the menu, double-click on that, and you'll get to the menu movie clip. You can change this menu any way that you see fit. Change the color, shape, graphic. I've added a little animation, a drop-down animation there. You can also change those using some of the examples that I showed you from the previous movie as inspiration. One thing I haven't done is labeled any of these menu button instances. The reason for this is the first mistake that you'll no doubt make, especially when copying scripts from other sources like you are here, because the names of the button instances here need to match the names in the script. They also must have names. So let's go through first and name our buttons. First off, here in frame 1, this menu button right here, let's give that the name menu_btn. That's the name I have in the script that I'll be providing. You can change that, but you'll also need to change the button instance name reference in the scripting. Over here in frame 20, I have another instance of the same button. Make sure you're not naming the button label, but the actual button itself. So let's go ahead and add the menu button right there as well. Notice that I need to click on the button itself, menu button here, as well as another instance here, menu button. I think I might actually have a third instance right there. Yes, let's go ahead and name that one as well, menu_btn. Now there are some other buttons we need to also label, those here in the drop-down position. These are a little bit more hidden. If you click on the menu stack there, you'll get a graphic, but double-click on that, and then inside here of menu 1 are these actual buttons here. It's actually labeled in the tween two. But if you click on each button, notice that over here it just says instance name, so those names have also been left out. For these buttons here, we're going to label these item 1_btn to match the labels there. Item 2_btn, and then item 3. I like to give my names consistent structures so that I can really easily predict what the names will be. Also, if I see an incorrect name in a script or on a button instance, I can notice it right away. So notice that those are all similar. Item 1, let's go back and double check, item 2 and item 3. So first thing you want to do is very carefully go through and label all of your button instances. Let's go ahead and click back here on menu 1 to go back to our menu 1 movie clip. Notice that whenever you click on a button instance on the stage, over here in the Properties Inspector you have a tracking option with two options here, track as button or track as menu item. These tracking options determine whether button instances can receive a button event after the event has started on a different button instance. The track as menu item option allows this to happen. The track as button option does not. Track as button is the default option. You'll notice that that's what will be there in the drop down when you click on all of the buttons in this project. Notice right here, item 1, track as button, item 2, track as button. Let's go back to menu and go here to frame 1, click on our button instance, and in this one we want to track as a menu item. Let me explain a little bit about the differences between these two. Now the default option, track as button, causes one button event to affect one button instance. However, in more complex menus like ours here, like the pull-down menu, we're going to require multiple button instances working together. To demonstrate, let's go to the menu mouse over end movie and let's test the movie, and notice that when I roll over the button, then I have options for clicking on these buttons here. So when you click and hold down the menu button to see the pop-up choices for some types of menus and then drag your pointer over your selection and then release the mouse button, you need Flash to recognize the mouse event .mouse up event in the expanded menu, even though the mouse event, perhaps mouse down event, has occurred in the collapsed menu for a different button instance. And in this case, it's in a different frame altogether since I'm now in the expanded menu option. So choosing the Track as Menu option here in the Property Inspector for tracking, let's go back to Mouse over Start. Track as Menu item allows your buttons to receive these different events and gives you more flexibility to work with combinations of buttons and events. So what I recommend that you do for this particular menu here in frame 1 is to go ahead and set it to the tracking, that is, to Track as Menu item. In the future, when doing these kinds of expandable and collapsible menus, experiment with the tracking option and see which one gives you more smooth results in terms of the animation and the button operation. Let's now move on to the next movie and start adding our scripts here to the timeline to get our buttons working.